Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Craft the World. My name is Splattercat, and we are here today just messing around one more time, trying to find a bit more ore and getting ready to produce some better weapons, because in the last episode we had seen a rather nasty dragon monster down here flying around, and the irony of our situation is that we need weapons but we have no iron. I don't know if that's irony or just coincidence. I always get it mixed up, whatever. I think that's the fundamental problem right now, is that like the general public uses those interchangeably and it's just become acceptable, and now I just end up being confused all the time. Anyways, let's get down here and we're gonna start getting rid of some of this ore. And hopefully they'll mine that in the right order. If they don't mine this in the proper order, I'm going to be very upset. We're going to have to break out the dwarvish stick of beating and hopefully give them a little bit of training as to what order to do the things I want them to do. Now then, we've got all of this coal down here. There is a fairly nice string of iron off to this side, and I think if we can get down to here, that'll probably put us up into the 20s and 30s for iron, and we can decide how much of it we want to turn into steel for later, or we can decide how much of it we want to keep as iron, because it seems as though a lot of the steel equipment requires a little bit of iron just to make the whole thing pop. So let's give them a minute. It may be a better idea even just to put like a portal down here so that they'll do this more rapidly. I do like the way that they recalculate now from where they need to go to where they need to be, and so that does speed up the process of maybe moving things around. I think I'm going to speed up time for a bit too. We're going to play this episode a little bit quicker than some of the previous ones because we do have some things to get done. Now then, what's going up here? What's going on up here in the overworld? It doesn't look like we have a ton of trees around. We could continue to work on this mountain and get rid of it and supply ourselves with some more stony goods, but at the moment I'm okay with leaving it as is. Over here to the right, we do have some trees regrowing. You'll remember that we did a little bit of terraforming in the last few episodes because we wanted to make sure we were going to have enough wood to go around as we played the game. We had an unfortunate problem where loads and loads of bushes were growing. There was just way too much bush on this map, and so we had to get it all trimmed back so that we could start growing some actual trees which we could put to use in better forms. The berries are nice. I mean, tearing down the bushes and getting berries and leaves are kind of nice every now and again, but we need wood very, very badly. If we take a look at our stockpiles here, you'll see we're sitting at 82, and that's good. That's a function of the fact that in the last episode we were able to get a lot of lumberjacking done. But with the amount of wood we go through, I feel like it's probably going to be necessary to keep a bunch on hand. Let's continue working on our crafting tree while we wait on people. So we've got the palm in a pot, which I enjoy. The palm placed in a pot would be even better. The more P's you can get into the description, the happier I would be. That lovely, lovely alliteration. Now we need 2 clays, so we're going to grab that. We'll drop those on in. We also need some agua, so we'll put that in there. And some final leaves. And so there's a potted plant. Does that need to be crafted, or does that just pop straight in? It pops straight in. So we popped a plant in a pot, and now we're gonna pop the plant in a pot. I don't know, like, can I put it on the table? No, I can't put it right there. Well then, let's put it next to the bird, because what do birds like? Birds love trees. They live in them. That's how much they like trees. So maybe we'll just put it by the bird right there, so perhaps he won't look so grumpy and constipated anymore. Other things to work on, we are under attack by a rather large gang of enemies, and I think it's probably going to be in our best interest now to get rid of these gravestones. I don't see us needing too many more bones or too many more brains along the way. Our dwarves, they have more than enough brain to go around. Sometimes. It depends how much they've been drinking. We've also got this cat over here and that cat over there. Zombies. They're not cats, they're zombies. Still, at the same time, I would rather they be in their current form, because if I had to kill like zombie kitties, I'd have a definite conflict of interest. It would be difficult for me to continue to function properly. I'd be sitting around wringing my hands like, no! Of all the trials in my life, who knew it would come to this? Let's dig down to there. I'll drop another scaffold on top so that at least we've got a little bit of an infrastructure ready to go so that we can climb back up to the top. Over on this side, we need to get going with the placing of torches to keep plants from growing. So we'll start there. We'll also get one put in right there. We lucked out in that this is not actual sand. This is kind of like a gravelly sand, so it's not going to collapse upon our puny, hairy little heads as we move our way through this dungeon that we've created. I do like the way that the ground forces you to dig in different directions. I do wish that I was a little bit more organized. Like, there used to be a lot of like dig dug type games that you could play where, you know, the type of game where you would go down, you would dig stuff up, you would come back up to the surface, you would dump it off, and then you would buy upgrades and continue mining. I still have one of them for the Xbox Live. Just a little indie game that copies all those old games from the mid-80s. But anyways, as I was saying, in those games, I always like to keep it organized so that my mining operation was easily scannable. Like, you could figure out what you were working on at any given moment. Right now, this is a little chaotic, but I don't really think we have a choice. I probably could have organized it a little bit better, but at the same time, I feel like the ore is spread out enough to where creating a cumulative, organized mining infrastructure is probably not something that's going to work at any level. Oh my god, they spawned inside my base. That's never happened before. Okay, well, we'll use that. Let's close that on down. And once everybody gathers by the door here, there we go. We'll whack our way through some goblins. We will tear off some greenskins. Although it looks like we've got a lot of people who are wounded, which is very, very disappointing. My Santa Dwarf was an idiot and ran into the middle and got mobbed on. He didn't allow anybody to tank for him. Hopefully my Yatagan homie will get out here. Oh, my Yatagan homie is running away in fear. Sir, that is not befitting such a beefy sword. Look at the size of that sword. Look at the awesome armor I've given you. You are not supposed to be running away right now. Seeing as parts of my base are now inaccessible, I've got a little bit of a quandary on my hand. We have to take care of all this. Oh, we're also out of food. They've been eating too much. Let's put that down in there. I do wish sometimes that your dwarves would get like a little bit of health back when they ate too. Maybe they do, and I'm just confused about the whole thing, but it's one of those things that I would like to see. We've got a lot of random food here that I'm just going to throw on tables. We're going to throw some stews in, maybe. There we go. Give them a nice selection to choose from, because it's not going to last forever. Can I place beer on the table, too? They will eat the beer. Fantastic. What could be more dwarvish than just having beer for dinner? Nothing will get you toasty faster than like beer or hard liquor on an empty stomach. That's a college tip right there. I mean, that should just be like a general purpose life tip that everybody should know. Just be aware. It's because it sneaks up on some people. Some people don't know yet. Let's go to our dwarf menu and figure out who needs to go to nap time. We got him on nap time. We got you on nap time. Pretty much everybody. If I was to assume how many people I needed to send off to the sleeping quarters. Okay, so it appears as though we're going to take a cumulative or a group siesta right now and make sure that everybody's got full health for whatever the next terrible thing is that happens. We'll also smack this thing in just a little bit, get all the loot up out of it, and run away with our treasure. On that side, there's nothing I want to do over there. Is anything happening down in our mining job right now? We've only got one thing left to mine out. I'm pretty sure everybody's sleeping at the moment, though. So we'll take a few minutes out. With regards to our long-term goals, I think we should probably continue working our way across the crafting tree. You guys had mentioned that there's a spell in here somewhere that allows me to conjure trees. I haven't seen it yet, but I would absolutely love to get my sweaty little grubby thick fingers on it. Oh, there it is right there. Magical Forest. Oh, we just get it. That's pretty sweet. All right, then. Let's take Magical Forest. They should have been alliterative. They should have called it Fanciful Forest, but then that sounds like the beginning part of, like, a cat food commercial, like Fancy Feast in the Fanciful Forest. But anyways, a fanciful forest sounds like something that those puny little elves would conjure up, and we're dwarves. We don't need forests. Forests are for chopping, not for frolicking. Let's put that in our hotbar, though, because we do need, regardless of its frivolity and fanciness, we still need to conjure ourselves a forest, because the fact of the matter is we need lots and lots of wood. Put that right there. It costs us 4 mana. Let's figure out if it conjures like a large group of trees or just, oh, it does. It conjures a large group of trees. Oh, that's badass. I couldn't have asked for a better spell. That's pretty much solved most of our issues then. Hopefully, I'm not going to send them out to Lumberjack right now. I almost clicked a portal out here and started them off gathering wood, but what I'd rather do is let's wait till morning. A melee book, good. We will wait until morning, and once morning gets here, we won't be under attack by any enemies. Everybody will be rested as well. That's another thing that I'm worried about, is I need people all nice and healed up for when the next invasion arrives. We've got about 10 minutes until we get hit by the next invasion of fuzzy bugger monsters, at which point we need to have everybody kind of hubbed up, ready to go, so slugged up and so forth. Down here at the bottom, we've got some more growing fungi. We'll get rid of that in just a minute. And down here, I think I need to make some more scaffolding, so let me craft those up right now. Oh, we've got ladders too. Okay, that'll be sweet. But for now I want scaffolds, so go there, and then we'll conjure in the other ones that we need. And I'd say, since we've got so much wood on the map right now, and we've got that magic spell, I'm just going to craft my way through all of this. I want to make sure that I don't have any shortages of scaffolds, ladders, or anything else that's useful for the building process as I go through the game. We'll move mud out of the way since we've pretty much terraformed everything right now. I don't feel the need to have mud back up on there. We need 3 right there. And we need another 2 right here maybe. There we go. And so once we've got those 2, I would like to get started with the building process along that line right there. First and foremost, so that we could dig out this coal right here without it all kind of creating a big old chasm or a big problem. Once we've done that, we need to kill off this little dude too. So we'll get rid of him. There's a spider hiding in the back. Just in case you hadn't seen, there's a rather large bulbous red spider hanging out in the back. With an ass the most crimson of colors, and if you don't know anything about nature, things with red asses in nature tend to be really dangerous, like baboons, spiders, snakes, anything with large red patches. It tends to be a little bit of a warning, a little bit of an ecological sign that you probably should not poke it too aggressively with sticks. Now then, let's wipe that out because I'm interested to see what treasure is inside of it. I'm also hearing the sounds of wildlife roaming around, and we may have to commit some snurder, some sheep murder, so some snurder, some shirter, and then maybe some border as well, if there's any boars around. Just all kinds of slaughter going on. But we'll give it a moment since I think 6 out of 9 of our workforce are pretty much out cold right now. I don't know why they say out cold. Because that more kind of denotes the fact that you might be dead. I always heard that saying, and like you would have somebody that's like sleeping on a couch in a blanket, and they'd be like, oh yeah, she's out cold. No, she is out warm. She's underneath a blanket. She's perfectly fine. In fact, I can see the sweat beading on her forehead. Somebody might want to remove that so that she can actually be out cold. But I don't want to go too far. I digress. Let's restock some of these salads. There we are. And I'm sure there's gotta be like some, what is that? There's like little gears now. Did they change that so you can see how much health that structures have? Once again, one of those changes that I haven't noticed. The developers, Decavir, they've done an amazing job with making sure that like all of the interaction you have with the game or all the feedback that the different objects give you, it's constantly being improved, and I like that. It really shows that the developers are paying attention to the things that people are saying. Looks like we've got a bunch of free gear in here and something that looks like a crossbow. Can we get crossbows? Or is that, oh, never mind, that's not a crossbow, that's a bridge. Sigh. Totally mistook that item. It's a mundane, it's a banal item, and I thought it was going to be an awesome weapon of slaughter that we could use to annihilate our enemies. So now that the water's down a little bit, let's put a teleport out here. And let's get going with some of this offhand work that we need to do. Hopefully this water will evaporate in the next little bit. I don't want to have to really deal with bucketing it all out. That would be a big waste of time for me. It has been like a rainy season though lately. We may have to. Well, hopefully people will get to it. I've still got a large portion of my workforce sleeping it off. They're gaining health very rapidly, which is making me worried. Is our coverage going down that far? Where are my Sparkles at? Sparkles! I need you right now, Sparkles. I need you to show me where you are so that I don't feel like my guys aren't getting any coverage and not healing, because as far as I can tell from looking at them, they haven't gained any health this entire time. That or they were overly wounded, and I thought they run away with like 1 heart though, so maybe that's what they've regained. I don't know what the coverage is. I don't think they'll go to sleep if this isn't covering it, but I can't see my Sparkles anywhere. Typically there's a little trail of Sparkles that's running around this whole thing that'll tell you exactly where the confines of your base both start and end, and I'm not seeing it, so I guess I'll leave it for now. We'll check back in on these guys. We'll wake them up in a minute if they're not healing, but it doesn't look like they are. It looks like there's absolutely no healing occurring. Interesting. Let me see. I'm kind of thinking about the process right now, and if I could put up another totem and maybe some more wooden doors, I can create kind of a internal base inside this outer one that will make the whole thing work a little bit better. I don't know if that's something that's even going to be feasible, but I'm going to try it simply because I don't see anybody getting health here. Let's mine those out. I really hate that the beds take up like the space next to them too. Like they should not be influencing this square right here. I don't know if that's one of those things that they just said it's like a kink they haven't worked out just yet, or if that's actually something we have to worry about. But since everybody's asleep now, it's going to take me a bit longer to get the work done, so hopefully he'll run this down here. And I feel as though we've run aground with some sort of bug as to why people aren't healing properly. drop a door there. We'll drop another door right there. And see, and the couch does the same thing. Interestingly enough, let me complete this wall right here. We'll tell them to mine that out. And then instead of doing all of this work here, I'm going to command them to just knock it off and not work on it for now. And we'll try and get the things done in the base that are sort of blocking. Ah, they're healing now. Okay, good. So that appears to have been part of the problem. I guess as you go through... Ah, the sparkles are back too. I guess as you go through the game, you've got to expand the boundaries of your sleeping areas. Otherwise, you're not going to get the bonuses. Well, it's like you get half of them. So normally they won't go to sleep unless they're inside the sparkles. But this was saying that everything was alright, but they were still going to sleep even though they were outside the bounds of their own base. So that's going to be one of those little tiny foibles that we're going to have to work on. I'm going to have them chop down the trees closest to base first, I guess, since that's going to speed this up a bit. I'm not going to send him out there to fight with zombies if I don't have to. Why is he... He feels ill-equipped to me. I mean, he's got like an Arlie Ermy haircut, so I can only assume that he's like a badass, and he's going to like mow his way through the enemies with chain guns or something, or at least shout them into submission. Or leave them at the point where they go crazy and shoot him in a bathroom somewhere. But in any case, he's got a badass haircut that definitely commands respect. Let's go kill him off too. Yadagon man. Go slay him. Awesome. Very nice. Let's have a look back down at our mining operation. I realize I said I wanted to get going on this and then it just didn't happen. We're going to carry this out in both directions as long as there's ore. And it seems like there's going to be a lot of stuff to mine out, so this might take a little bit of time. Put in a couple more scaffolding so that they can get up to this layer where there's a lot more iron to be had. And I think what I'd like them to do is mine these two out, and we're going to try and go top to bottom. Whenever you're doing a mining operation, you always try and go top to bottom, because if you go bottom to top, then it's like, mine this out, put in scaffold, mine this out, put in scaffold. If you go top to bottom, all you've got to do is you do that layer, then you do the next one, then you do the next one, and so it's a little bit more clean and nice. You don't have to worry about issues coming up where you run out of scaffoldings and you're using things that you don't have and so forth. What did that put our supply of wood back up to? 35. Okay, so we didn't get that much out of it. However, there are a bunch of trees to be had over here, and the water, as we had hoped, has evaporated. So let's get in here and let's do some lumberjacking. Very nice. I noticed the other day, like, I'm just trying to pass time right now because there's not a whole lot going on in this episode, but I noticed my neighbor has like a bunch of garlic cloves sitting on his porch, and so the first day there was like one little tiny clove there, and I was like, alright, whatever, maybe he was carrying in like the groceries and he dropped a garlic clove. The next day there was like 2 garlic cloves. Now, either what I get from this is that they're performing like some weird like gypsy magic ritual over in the next room over. Either that or my victims have been screaming far too loudly as I drain them dry, so I'm thinking I may have to find a new place to put my coffin. In any case, that garlic is definitely blinding every time I leave my front door. I tried for vampire humor. I don't know if it was going to work or not. It was one of those things that when I was thinking about it, I was like, this could go either way. This could partially be humorous, or this could just be awful. And I think I'm just going to go for it, because right now my dwarves, they're lumberjacking, they're chopping down trees, they're getting us some of that birch bark so that we can build stuff. And beyond that, there's not a whole lot to talk about. Now that they're done though, haha, we have things to investigate. Let's go back to our crafting tree. And I think now we can do paper, some papeles. Let's see if we can get that mashed out. Looks like it takes raw wood, a little bit of water, and some coal. And there it is. Let's continue on down, and I'd like to get at least 4 or 5 things done here. We could do a portrait, but I'm more interested in these potions. If we can get people to heal up, I wonder if you can put these on a table, and they'll go and just drink up whenever they get wounded. How interesting and how useful would that be? It's something that's definitely got me stirring a bit about my tummy bits, making me feel happy about the future, so we'll try that out. We're gonna take some coal and glass, and we'll turn that into some crafted bottles. And once we've got the crafted bottles, let's figure out what it's going to take to make a health elixir. So it's going to take some roots, it's going to take some resin, some water, and some leaves, and a little bit of the old berries, which is fine because we've got plenty of everything. So we've got a bunch of roots right there. And the resin, I think, is a stage 1 product. We've also got the water already, so that's going to work out. The berries, we always have such a huge supply of berries, and I'm not concerned about that. And we get 3 potions out for each one that we make. But it doesn't take any of the glass vials that we just made, oddly enough. Let's figure out how these are used. They do 17 healing. Now, do I drag and drop them onto somebody? And they obviously need to be crafted, too. Let me go through and make sure. Where's it going to equip? Okay, so those need to be made. So we've got to wait for somebody to get those done. We also never equipped our iron boots, and so we're not clanking as we're walking, which means I've been doing a poor job as a supervisor. Let's get all of our dwarves equipped with some new iron booties. repair number 1. And that explains why we haven't been going down the armaments line either. We've been a terrible arms dealer, a terrible just crafter. It's time to get things done. We got to get things moving. So these guys all have steel shoes now, which is going to make them swim just horribly. I guess we're probably going to lose a lot of guys to accidents at the watering hole from here on out. But you never know. This guy's barefoot, so we'll get him some of the leather shoes that we had left over from everybody else. It sucks getting hand-me-downs. When I was growing up, that's pretty much all I ever wore were hand-me-downs from my cousin. See, that's the problem. Like, when you're a little kid, like, your parents are always trying to save money, and who could blame you? You gotta put food on the table, right? But, like, you either luck out. So if you luck out, you'll be a little kid that has, like, no relatives anywhere near your age. And so every now and again, you'll get, like, some new clothes or something. But, like, if you're anything like me when you were growing up, you've got a cousin who's, like, a year older than you. And it's like, well, you just resign to the fact that you're never, ever going to have, like, a new pair of pants ever again until you're an adult. And it's all good. You know, it's not something that I care that much about. Little kids don't care what they wear anyways for the most part. They're just like, whatever. I mean, when I was a little kid, I was perfectly fine with just like running around nude. I mean, clothes were kind of a formality for me when I was that age. So, we've crafted some of those bottles. Those are ready to go. He's up here. Yeah, he's pulling his Heisenberg, making us some nice products so we can get ourselves nice and healed up. Healed up in quotes, I say. Get ourselves some chemical comfort. But beside that, let's get back to our crafting menu because I feel like I'm not getting anything done here. We've got an Elixir of Mana. That's probably going to be better for me. I would like to play around with those in just a minute, but nobody's hauled them back to base, so we'll figure out how to use those in just a second. We've got the stone bridge. All right. Let's craft up one of those, and then we'll drop it somewhere. I don't know how much use it'll be, and I don't know if we're going to use it for anything right now, but we'll definitely craft it on up. It takes a little bit to get done, so we're going to have to wait on that. Looks like we've also got the portrait, so let's paint ourselves a portrait. Oop, and I clicked off of it. My mistake. So it's going to take some planks. We got the paper here. Something to nail it to the wall with, and a little bit of the old paint. And there's our first portrait. And obviously they're going to make us hang it up. So let's find a place to beautify. We'll put it... I don't like it right there. We'll put it up maybe like right there. Yeah, that looks good. It's almost centered in the middle of the room from what I can tell. And I didn't even mean for it to be symmetrically in the middle. That makes me super happy. We're almost out of food, too, so maybe I should grab some buns, but not in the way that got me kicked out of the old folks' home. Let's see here. There we are, and we'll throw some of those on the table so that people can get her done if they need to get some food going. The salads haven't been touched in a bit, so I'm wondering if they're getting a bit tired of them, but whatever. Not something that I'm going to concern myself with at the moment. Oh, the picture was different than what they estimated. Somehow I get the feeling they'll like that one better since it's got a female on it. We haven't seen a female dwarf spawn yet. Hopefully they add that in the future. That'd be a nice feature. Get a couple female dwarves up in here, dual wielding some battle axes or something. Firing some musketoons. Got some fish left over too. We've got a bunch of meat, so I should probably turn those back into steaks now that we've run the full gambit of like products. I mean, we've got grilled fish left over. We've got a little bit of fish stew that we can throw down in there. Obviously, we've still got backup foods like apples and berries. What else have you got for me, crafting tree? We've got ourselves what looks like an iron. Oh, that's actually, that didn't click properly. Hold on here. That, well, we're going to have to do this the hard way. So let's go back into the crafting menu. We're just going to have to track it down. Well, oh, I never placed one. I have one, but I never placed it. Well, maybe I should probably do that then. Yeah, I'll place the vase back over there. Tell these cats to die and piss off. Slash them back to their undeath, I suppose. I was going to say slash them to death, but, you know, slash them out of the undeath. Like, what comes after death? They've already died. Like, I have no terminology with which to be like, beat them to what? I guess beat them into fragments would work. Beat them until they are no longer in one concurrent piece, I suppose. But that doesn't flow. It's not like beat them to death. That doesn't have like the same oomph. It doesn't have the same gumption going on. It doesn't have the same hitch in its giddy up, unfortunately. So I don't know where that leaves us right now. It leaves me linguistically challenged, which if you know anything about the Splattercat, if he can't say it, then it's probably a bad day for Splattercat because that seems to be the one skill that I do have is just like saying whatever comes to mind here. And, you know, some people hate it, some people love it. What are you going to do? Let's go to... I got to hit some scaffoldings, and I took them off of my little tool belt here. And I instantly regretted it right after I did it. So we'll put it back up here in a place of honor, or honor, depending on how you decide to say the word. And then we'll get this coal out of the way. And it looks like we're hitting all kinds of veins in here, so that's good. Hitting more veins than an IV. I suppose we can just start mining this out and I wanted to go top to bottom, but it doesn't look like I'm going to have the option. If I wanted to do this more efficiently, I could drop a shaft right there, but I feel like that would scar up my map a little bit, and I want to keep things clean for now. Over here, we've got this next layer mined out so we can get going. Very cool. We'll drop another scaffolding there so that once they go through that line, it just auto-builds for us and we don't have to worry about it. I'm going to cancel that, and then, oh, it looks like a spider web spawned underneath the torch we were going to place anyway, so we've got to wait and kill that off before we're going to be able to do it. We're at like the 26-minute mark anyway, so I think I'm going to break the episode off here. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me in the Nerd Castle for another episode of Craft the World. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Hi, do everybody, and take care.